This is what the Russian world, or the Russian peace as they called it, looks like.
У мене стара хата була. I am Zarina Zabrisky and I am talking to you.
We see that there are more people in the streets and the life is returning to Mykolaiv. Can you share with us, please, what are the current tasks that your administration is facing?
Let's say life in Mykolaiv becomes better, and things are getting better because of the front line that moved forward to Kherson and then behind the Kherson. Our life is now more peaceful. We have less bombardments. That's why a lot of people decided to come back. We register about 50,000 people who returned after the Kherson liberation. It means it was 11th of November. Main challenges are still heating season and water supply. We're still installing osmosis cleaning systems to provide people with water sources of drinking water around the city. So for now, this amount is about 150, and we plan to increase this amount. Also, we equip all those water sources with diesel generators because of the problems with electricity, to provide water in any conditions, with or without electricity, and in any weather conditions.
What would you say about the environmental damage that the Russian invasion has inflicted on Mykolaiv Oblast?
The damage is really big. If we speak about dolphins, because of these water mines and the shellings of the sea shore of our region, we had like thousands of dead dolphins on the banks of the sea. If we speak about different shellings of gas stations, for example, in Mykolaiv there was a storage of the oil that was destroyed, and the oil came to the river, which we tried to stop, but the amount of that oil was really big, and a lot of oil fell down. By the land and by the rain sewage system went into the river, so it was also the big challenge for us to clean the river from that oil. For sure, war is not getting environment better, so we had a lot of problems, and we are trying to clean all that stuff. Hard, but we do it on the everyday basics.
I can say that it's quite amazing the amount of repair works and maintenance work that you managed to get going here in Mykolaiv, still in the war conditions. Very, very impressive. And do you think that the dead fish that was found is the result of that leakage and that accident that you've mentioned?
The oil goes with like a film on top of the water, on the surface of the water, and the fish don't have oxygen, and that's why we have this dead fish on the river banks. With the time, our brigades, Ministry of Emergency, is using those boats that gathering that film, that oil. So I think in some time the situation will be resolved, but still we are fighting with it.
Yeah, I could see how the whole ecosystem would suffer from that. You have mentioned the emergency services and you've mentioned mines. I know that there got to be a fair amount of demining going on around Mykolaiv. We've been to some villages and heard from the residents that they still find mines and How is that going, and are you involved in this?
We are not involved in that process. This is a regional level process. But recently, our governor Vitaly Kim said that United Nations funded this process of demining, and the amount of mines is much bigger than it was expected. So it could be that we will need more resources to demine all the territory. Anyway, this process is continuing, and a lot of teams from all over Ukraine comes to Mykolaiv, and they clean the territory of our region from those mines. A lot of mines that Russians left after themselves.
I know that you're the mayor of Mykolaiv and you are not a military leader, but I would be very much interested in your opinion. A lot of experts and a lot of officials have been saying this last week that this is a decisive moment in war and that it will decide the course of the events now. And it's not quite clear to me what is the basis of the statements. Do you have this feeling here from the Mykolaiv standpoint or from your own? Why would this now be a decisive moment?
You 100% right saying that I'm not a military expert. Maybe while our last interview I told you that I don't believe in fast way in resolving situation on the Kherson-Mykolaiv region's border military situation. But today we see that somehow the situation was resolved in a couple of days, and the situation has been changed very fast. And the same situation could be with the Russian army. We see that Russians are not motivated because first of all, they are invaders. They understand that as soon as they come to Ukraine after mobilization. So we have two main reasons why we will win. First, this is like mental stuff, that we know what we do. We defend our lands, our country, our families. Russians go to defend some language, especially in the cities that were mostly Russian speaking. The biggest bombardments were right in those cities where people used Russian as a primary language. So, and the second, it's Russian military corruption, because they have 10 tanks, 5 of them don't shoot, 5 of them don't move. These are not my words, these are words of some conversation that was recaptured by special services of Ukraine between militaries, head of some division said, like, military corruption is one of our best friends in this war. And for sure that corruption is not only on the military front. They have a lot of this corruption in all spheres of Russia. So for sure in this war, by amount of people, we won't be able to win, because we have 40 million people and they have 140 million people. So by the amount of meat that they can send here, we can lose. But for sure we are motivated, they are unmotivated. A lot of people go, we capture them because they don't want to fight as soon as they are getting to the front line. And the second, with the help of Western civilization, I don't say, let's say, European Union or United States or Canada, with the Western world, and with this motivation, we will be able to build modern army that will be able to kill all those bastards who come here with their old-fashioned weapons. We need this help now, and as soon as we get that help, people in Russia will see that they only lose, and they will have for sure the explosion inside of Russia. Big empires couldn't be destroyed from outside. In the history of humankind, all those empires were destroyed from the inside. So the same with Russia. Their will to occupy Ukraine, make them with less money, less motivation, less thinking people, because they are moving out of Russia. And for sure, the majority of Russians will watch the TV and still believe in those stories about Nazis in Ukraine. But I think people who make decisions there, in some time, maybe in a couple of months, they will understand that it's better to stop this war, to fall back on the Russian territories, and to return their life back to this before the war, like it was before the war. And I think Putin will be, first of all, moved out of Russia as a Russian president, and will be changed for some group of people, and even maybe killed by someone from his surrounding. So, because it's a war of Putin, of his ambitions, and like all other people who made cult from their person, he will finish very bad. After his death, all those people who are near him, from his surrounding, will say, it's not us, it's him, it's all him, and we were just like victims of his actions. So you see, I think this year a lot of people seeing this situation on the front line, on the battlefield, don't believe in our fast victory. But I think this year will be very important, and this year will be a year of the victory of Ukraine. So yes, I believe in that.
What do you think will happen with Mykolaiv? What would be important for Mykolaiv this year? And for you personally, what task, what goals do you have for 2023?
A lot of people abroad worrying about the money that they spent for this war from their countries. United States, United Kingdom, Germany. But first of all, we spent the most valuable resource, people. And Ukrainians are dying here. For sure, we have a lot of people who came from other countries to fight with the fascism, let's say. And they help us. But the most valuable asset in the war is for sure a person, people who are fighting. And if we speak about money that these countries spend from their defense budgets, they won't cost even the budget of some person daily budget, let's say. It won't cost for everyone $100 per month, let's say. But it will save a lot of lives of Ukrainians, and we will stop this Russian Nazism. And as for recovery, for sure, Ukrainians are really big bureaucrats. And we still have these fights with corruption, because still a lot of people haven't changed their minds and the way of thinking, and they want to earn money and they live like it was before the war. But we are on our way to transparency and to make this bureaucracy online, or let's say electronic, because computer doesn't take bribes. We decided to prepare all the information that we need for recovery, starting from the general plan, starting from master plan of the city, which will say and show us what we need to recover, what we need to ruin. Let's say 2 schools near each other we will ruin and build new one, the modern school. Industrial zones where we will build some production, and what type of workers we need to train now. So we decided to spend this time, while the wartime, to prepare all the documents, all the bureaucracy procedures, all the electronic procedures, just to start right away after the end of the war.
It's very impressive. And
sounds good. Let's see how it will be done.
Do you use DIA for that?
We are in cooperation with the Ministry of Electronic Transformation. Last week I met Mr. Fedorov. We want to be a country with a unique, or the first in Western Europe, online systems of all the records, of all the processes. Because as I told you before, computer doesn't take bribes. So And we need to move all the services that somehow connected to money online. So people won't be able to do anything, like more cameras with more controlling traffic, controlling different type of fines, more electronic services without people, where people, if they need something, they just enter information and getting those papers. Like recently, I made letter of attorney that I give ability to my children to move abroad to my wife. So I came to the notarius, and she asked me for the information about my registration. I generated it in PDF in DIA and sent it to her email address with a timestamp, with a QR code. So I don't need to come to some office in Mykolaiv to getting that paper stuff, to give her fresh paper, so for register my place of registration. And we are moving to that position where we won't be able to use any papers at all. So everything will be electronic, except maybe the documents that you need to have, property documents or something. And the next stage that we also had a conversation about with Mr. Fedorov is weapon documents, because we are going to the electronic medical information, we are going to the electronic information about schools of shooting. We will be able to check that information on all the levels and to make a decision about weapon. Moreover, if anything changed, like someone is getting mad, and his doctor saying that he is mad, it will be seen in the electronic version that we need to get a gun from him.
I see. So if somebody has a history or a new occurrence of mental illness,
yes,
then
right.
he's not authorized to own a gun.
So right now, the main aim is to organize and centralize all the electronic services that we have and all the registers that we have in Ukraine. This will help us to fight with corruption and to plan our country development.
This is totally fascinating. I met Mr. Fedorov and interviewed him last year in Davos, actually, and he talked a lot about DIA, but I think it went a long way even since then, so I'm looking forward to...
Moreover, I could say that here in Mykolaiv, we have best GIS system in Ukraine. So, because we started to build it since 2016, this system has multiple layers. On those layers, we put information about, let's say, pipes, the land, all those land pieces, the property, and also recently we created with the Kiev Economic Institute, we created a new layer of destructions, where we, by their, let's say, scale, finding out the amount of money that we need to recover destroyed properties or infrastructure, we put them on the map, and we also put their images from the land and from the satellite Maxar and from drones that we use to overlook all those problems. So this is additional work that was sponsored by the Denmark government. We also do this work just to find out what is the amount of our losses. So this amount is like 900 million euros for now, like it's 860, something like this. This is also the preparation for the end of the war.
Great plans, and I really, really hope that you will be able to implement them very soon successfully. I'll be coming over to talk about that and maybe see some of the results. So for now, thank you very much for your time, for your work, for everything you do here for Mykolaiv, for Ukraine, and our audience is watching and rooting for you. And Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Thank you.